You're watching a Newswatch special report, taking an in-depth look into water conditions for people living in Wyoming County.
On the Baileysville Hunting Club property, combustible gas is escaping from the ground. The gas isn't just a hazard. Residents are concerned about a possible disaster.
There's a gentleman who goes to my grandson-in-law's church in Bud. He told the people in the church, he said, I'm concerned about the people in Brenton because there's methane gas in the water, in the well water. And that's explosive between 5 and 15%. If any spark at all goes off, it's probably going to take the town of Brenton off the map.
The DEP has been notified and has found the gas leak on the Baileysville Hunting Club property just a few miles from Brenton. According to residents in Brenton, a house exploded 2 months ago, and while the cause is unknown, it's left residents feeling shaken.
I'm not sure what caused the explosion, but it leveled the house completely. I mean, it shook my church. I was sitting in my study, and it shook the church.
10 miles southeast, people are reporting similar issues. Dakota Day, a resident along Indian Creek, reported his well blowing up in 2024, only for him to put it out with a jacket.
I took a leather coat and put it over the liner pipe, put it out. My neighbor got blowed up about 4 or 5 days later.
Another resident along Miles Branch Road has reported methane in his well.
Well, first I had methane in it, and they come and checked it, said it was natural, it was seeping up through the rocks.
While combustible gas pours out of the ground and potentially into residential wells, a different problem pours out of the faucets.
You can't drink it, you can't cook with it, you can't do nothing with that water that you got now. The smell and the odor in your house, it's just, gosh, you just can't hardly even turn it on. And, you know, you got to share with it because that's all you got and stuff. And you get out dirtier than what you get in. It's just that bad.
The smell is terrible, but for residents, there's no other choice.
We first started noticing a really foul smell, almost like a sulfur smell. In the wintertime, it's not quite as bad, but summertime, it's unbearable.
Indian Creek is not the only community dealing with this situation. Residents in Brenton and Baileysville report similar issues. And the DEP says everything is natural.
Our well water started to turn brown, and it just kept getting worse and worse until it almost looked like sand. And it was a mixture of sand and clay.
In 2020, Lee found sulfate-reducing bacteria in his filter system. In an email to Newswatch, WVDEP spokesperson Terry Fletcher stated that the white stringy substance is sulfate-reducing bacteria, and it poses no risk to residents.
Okay, that's a bacterial mat, and what's happening there is that bacteria is processing sulfur. It's taking sulfur from a dissolved state and putting it up into the atmosphere as hydrogen sulfide gas, and that's why the streams stink. They smell like rotten eggs. That's hydrogen sulfide gas. That's obviously a nuisance, but it's more than that. It's also a public health concern because hydrogen sulfide gas at high concentrations is toxic for people. So we're concerned about that.
According to the University of Georgia, drinking water with high levels of hydrogen sulfide can cause nausea and stomach pain. High levels may also have a laxative effect and can be especially detrimental to infants and animals. According to the U.S. EPA, studies in humans suggest that the respiratory tract and nervous system are the most sensitive targets of hydrogen sulfide toxicity. Exposure to low concentrations of hydrogen sulfide may cause irritation to the eyes, nose, or throat, headaches, poor memory, tiredness, and balance problems. In some individuals, there may be negative long-term effects, such as headaches, poor attention span, poor memory, and poor motor function. Studies show the gas's effect on living things, but there are no state or federal regulations associated with the toxin because the EPA says high concentrations are not palatable for humans. In Brenton, residents make their coffee with tap water because they have no other choice.
When I make coffee and stuff, I just got the water out of the sink.
In 2020, when Lee found the white stringy substance in his home water filter, which goes to both his house and the church he serves, he got his well tested. He later received a letter from the Wyoming County Health Department stating residents should not drink, bathe, or even brush their teeth with the water.
We were told not to use the water for drinking, for cooking, for bathing even, or taking a shower, brushing their teeth.
Did they give you an alternative? 4 years later, nothing has changed. And now that they know what is in the water, residents are afraid.
To discover that it had bacteria in it was very scary to us. And my grandson lived with me for a while, and he winds up with cancer.
Cancer and other health complications have been popping up more and more in the recent years, and although no connections to the water have been made, the pattern is hard to ignore.
2 or 3 people in the holler, I don't know whether it's with this or not, but I know they got cancer and bad stomach and stuff. So, and then it's really messed me up. I've been sick for the last 2 years and out of the hospital with different things.
Pastor Lee was a coal miner for over 30 years in the Pinnacle Complex mine in Wyoming County and does whatever he can now to provide comfort around the water for his family.
My great-grandson goes in to take a bath. I've got the hot water on. He walks into the bedroom and he says, "That stinks. It stinks really bad." I said, "I know it, Noah, but I can't help it. We can't do anything about it. We just put soap in it and make it smell better."
And when asked about drinking the water,
As far as drinking it, we'll never drink it. I would be definitely scared to do that. I'd be scared for my family to do that.
and they are not the only ones dealing with poor water quality. Residents along Indian Creek have complained about the issue for over 2 years.
It's been rusty. You couldn't hardly. Well, right now, I've done bought washers, dishwashers, and now hot water heaters are going out. So it's running everything in the house. It's done run air health.
Keene has bladder cancer and is in the 3rd stage of kidney failure. After living along Indian Creek for nearly 40 years, he blames the water.
This kidney disease and stuff, but I don't know what. I know about what done it. It was this water, because I've been here ever since 1985. So we drunk this and didn't know it had arsenic in it.
The West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection has been notified about both the gas and the water quality, but their response has only left residents with more questions. I ran into 2 DEP officers right here outside the hunting club where they confirmed they were looking into the matter of the escaping combustible gas, but they declined to comment on record. The DEP also says that the contaminated water flowing into residents' wells is a result of natural processes, a process that residents have not seen before. The water crisis goes further than just private wells and escaping combustible gas. Both the Wyandotte and Tug Fork rivers have seen troubling changes, with residents notifying state agencies and local action groups about the increase of bacteria along with other contaminants. Scientists from around the state came to see what is really in the water. The contaminated water isn't just limited to one location. Residents have reported active discharges in Indian Creek, Wolf Pen, New Richmond, Caples, Brenton, and Baileysville, showing that the issue is widespread across multiple parts of the county. One of the first things water scientists look at is conductivity.
So conductivity is important because it tells us how much dissolved material is in any piece of water. And the higher the conductivity, the more dissolved material there is in it. It's essentially measuring the ability of a solution to carry an electric charge. So the more dissolved material, the faster that electric charge is carried. But really what it is an indicator of water purity. How clear and how clean is that water?
The conductivity at one outlet in question was 1,159 microsiemens per centimeter. Scientists say that the conductivity of 300 microsiemens per centimeter constitutes a polluted waterway in southern West Virginia.
We've looked at conductivity as a measure of water quality, and we can see that the levels of conductivity are several times greater than what we would expect for a healthy stream. But in the Tug Fork and in the Wyandotte, the primary source of that conductivity is from mine discharge, from sulfates. And it's the same sulfur that we see in these streams that's producing the bacterial growth and that's causing the hydrogen sulfide, that rotten egg smell. That's sulfurous water.
In a statement to Newswatch, West Virginia DEP claims the water in question meets permitting standards, and there's no evidence that mine discharge has impacted groundwater users in the area. The West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection also said that historical groundwater data shows elevated levels of iron, manganese, and other elements before the Pinnacle mining complex closed in 2018. Wyoming County residents, on the other hand, told us that water conditions have worsened in the recent years. Hydrogen sulfide is just one of many concerns. Independent water tests done at the same laboratory that the DEP uses show extreme levels of iron, manganese, and arsenic in public waterways, all exceeding state and federal standards, as well as state provisions under the Clean Water Act. In a court hearing on February 12th, Judge Zach Miller referred to the situation as a public health risk. Lawyers for the coal companies involved, including Bluestone, Pinnacle, and Alpha, did not disagree. Yet West Virginia DEP says the water meets standards. Although the Wyoming County Commission has not taken a public position on the water's safety, President Jason Mullins confirms there is a need for water.
Some of this county is in desperate need for water. They're to the point where you can't hardly be filtered. It can't be fixed. It's got to be replaced. We have to find something better than what they have now for a source.
With lab tests coming back from around the affected waterways, they revealed iron levels exceeding the legal limit by over 200 times, arsenic over 4 times the legal limit under the Clean Water Act, and sulfate-reducing bacteria visible in multiple test sites. According to the West Virginia DEP, the water poses no public health risk. Recently, residents along Indian Creek reported fewer deer in the area, and have even found dead deer at the base of Indian Creek with neon veins inside their bodies. Wild animals are not the only victims. Residents claim domesticated animals, including dogs and chickens, have died with more frequency in the last few years, although no direct connections to the water have been made yet.
Well, I'm going to teach kill a lot of animals, because if it's hard on a person, it's hard on animals. Dogs, chickens, and stuff like that, if they drink out of that, they probably won't live 6 months.
You might be wondering if there are any laws that prohibit this type of situation from happening. There are laws in place to try to prevent this. The narrative water quality standards for West Virginia are outlined in Title 47, Series 2 of the West Virginia Code of State Rules, which governs water quality standards under the Clean Water Act. These standards set general conditions that all state waters must meet, in addition to numeric limits for specific pollutants.
The Clean Water Act requires states to promulgate standards that will protect the uses of their streams. And one of the uses, the recognized uses of West Virginia streams is for aesthetic purposes, right? We don't want our creeks to look awful or smell awful.
These laws prevent sewage and industrial waste from entering the rivers that would cause odors, oil, scum, or foam, as well as any nutrients that can cause bacterial blooms or harm aquatic life, as well as the blanket statement preventing toxic substances from entering West Virginia waterways. This is not the first time the narrative water quality standards could save the lives of West Virginians. The first piece of action in the 2014 Elk River spill in Charleston, West Virginia, used these exact laws to enforce action be done.
The Elk River spill was the first enforcement action that was brought was under that regulation that prohibits the causation to cause the waters to smell bad. And because it's illegal to make the water smell bad, DEP was able to issue the orders that got the rest of the enforcement to start.
With bacterial blooms in the Guyandotte, the Tug Fork, and tributaries to both, and the law saying no sewage, industrial waste, or other waste present in any of the water in the state shall cause concentration of bacteria which may impair or interfere with the designated uses of the affected waters, little to nothing has been done by state or federal regulators. In 2020, the DEP investigated the issue along Brenton and Baileysville and concluded in their report, obtained through FOIA requests, that mining was not responsible for the water quality issues. In an email with the DEP in January of 2025, I was told, once the Pinnacle mine ceased operations, water built up in the mine, creating a mine pool, and pressure forced it to the surface, known as artesianing, in areas in and near Indian Creek. Residents say the DEP has talked in circles, first blaming the mines, then backing off, all while the water remains undrinkable. New says the DEP has come down to test his water, but after getting his results back, they have given him a conflicting analysis.
They was going to say that the mines did it. They said, and they pillared within 300 feet of your property. I said, well, that makes sense. And then the last time he came back, he brought them girls, and he was trying to tell me that the mines didn't have nothing to do with it.
And for a while, Alpha Metallurgical Resources was supplying clean drinking water to communities in need.
It was the Kepler mine, it's Alpha. I went to the main office, I talked to I assume it was the superintendent, told him the issues that we were having with the water. So they came down and they tested the water a little, it wasn't a big test, but they were taking responsibility, it seemed, because they were bringing us water, day after day.
But residents say that all stopped when the EPA came in.
It was after the EPA came and did all their tests, and the geologists even came. And probably a month later, they sent us a letter, and they saying that Alpha was not responsible for it.
Residents say after they received that letter, support from the mines stopped. Residents feel that after years in the mines, producing for their country and state, they do not deserve what is happening.
Why should I have to fail or feel like a failure when you've got county resources, you've got state resources, and you've got federal? And neither one of the three don't want to do nothing about it. Nothing.
I reached out to the governor's office in January and got an interview scheduled with Governor Patrick Morrisey on February 13th about the ongoing water problems in Wyoming County. Originally, I was invited to the governor's mansion to talk about the situation. That was reduced to a station visit, then to a Zoom call. 40 minutes before the interview, Morrisey's office called and told me the governor could not talk about the water situation and could only speak on the recent State of the State address. I was told he would instead provide a statement. After a month and multiple follow-ups, we had not received anything until Friday, March 14th. When I was told the statement would be ready that day, I have received nothing since. We have taken a look at how the water is affecting residents as well as the wildlife and the area in general. So who's responsible for the polluted water and who's responsible for fixing it? The answers get murkier the closer you look. In 2023, the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection filed a lawsuit against a subsidiary of Pinnacle Mining, claiming the company failed to stop a flow of polluted water bursting up through the ground near Indian Creek.
Well, when all this happened, we thought it was just straight well water. It was all around our heat pump and all that.
Water containing sulfate-reducing bacteria and other toxins burst through the ground at the Christian residence along the Welch-Pineville Road, flooding the yard.
The West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection used one of its many enforcement tools under the Surface Mining Act and brought a civil case against a subsidiary of Pinnacle Mining.
The West Virginia DEP cited 2 violations of West Virginia State Code, and Pinnacle responded by saying that they had gone bankrupt and that another coal company, Bluestone Resources, owned by Senator Jim Justice's family, was supposed to take over the permit but never did. Once Bluestone was named in the case, they pointed the finger at a third company, Alpha Metallurgical Resources.
You have Bluestone, who hasn't yet taken it over, but says, look, if there's a problem at this mine, it's the responsibility of Alpha, because Alpha owns the coal seams. And so now Bluestone has filed its own third-party complaint saying, if me, then also them, trying to bring Alpha in.
Bluestone also sent a representative to the Christian residents to sign an affidavit saying we do not believe that either we or our home are in imminent danger because of the water coming out of the well.
And at the time we thought if we didn't sign it, well, we'd probably have to find a place to go. Then we, wish we did sign it.
When they signed the document, they also thought the danger lies solely in the water surrounding the electronics. They say they did not know about the contents in the water.
When we had started getting this tested, come back with all this hard stuff in it, then that put us in harm's way.
Yeah. In the most recent hearing on this case on February 12th, Bluestone's lawyer Raymond Franks said,
"As far as I know, there's no firm issue with the flood. What they call the occasion is percolating the water out of the surface."
And court documents echo that message, with Bluestone saying the residents whose original complaint resulted in the imminent harm cessation order that West Virginia DEP seeks to enforce in this action do not believe there is an imminent threat to their safety or property. I have been to the Christian residence over a dozen times since January. Although there is no severe flooding, the water is still artesianing. In the same court hearing in February, Wyoming County Judge Joshua Miller said,
"We're dealing with issues of public health and safety in this matter."
And the coal companies involved, including Pinnacle, Bluestone, and Alpha, did not disagree.
One of the entities is out of compliance. Either PNMC, Bluestone, Alpha. I don't think that's much of a dispute.
Water tests done by residents have made some concerning connections to the water in the case, the Pinnacle mine pool. Using what scientists call a stiff test or a Piper plot, which allows scientists to compare the similarities in water through their chemical makeup, a striking similarity was revealed in the mine pool and the contaminated water throughout the area, showing the court case may only address a fraction of the problem. When I asked Senator Justice's office about the matter, they said Justice had no knowledge of anything related to Bluestone. When I asked Justice himself, this is what he said.
Well, the only comment that I would have is just this, is, my son, heads up all that situation and everything with Bluestone, but I really think if you dig deep into the situation, we are way down the food chain as far as anything that we had to do with anything in regard to this. But I can't really comment any more than that because I just don't know it.
As Pinnacle lawyers said it best, effectively, what we have here is a game of judicial ping pong.
There's a lot of finger pointing going on between 3 different coal companies, and it was all started just by DEP trying to get a coal company to comply with the law and protect the communities.
At the local level, county officials have been pushing to get public water access for residents who have none.
We know that there is a need for water up there now. We have an emergency situation that we're looking at. We face the problem of having an emergency situation with water right now we need to take care of, and then long term putting permanent water lines down there so we don't have these problems again.
Wyoming County officials have secured both state and federal funding to bring public water to Brenton, something many residents have waited on for over 5 years.
We're looking over $10 million, almost $11 million to get these projects going. Those projects are slated to be put under a contract to be bid out this year between spring and summer, and within the next year to 16 months it should go under contract.
These projects must be completed before the county can look at projects to get water to Indian Creek, which comes at a price.
It ranges anywhere sometimes between $40,000 and $70,000 per household right now in this area to provide public water to these homes. It's not the type of money that we have.
While Mullins says the commission is working on solutions, he also says he hasn't spoken to the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection about the situation.
I haven't seen anything directly from the DEP.
There's been like no contact from the DEP to the county commission about it?
Not that I know of. If they have, they may have contacted someone here at the courthouse, but I haven't spoken to them myself, no.
And he doesn't know who, if anyone, in the courthouse is handling that communication. Do you know who would be that source or that line of contact?
No, sir. We don't have regular meetings with the DEP on anything, so especially this situation.
Despite that, he maintains the commission is doing everything it can.
The county commission is addressing it now. We're doing everything we can.
When asked whether the commission would press the DEP or coal companies to help, Mullins defended the decision to stay neutral.
We know people are hurting there. We want to help them out. It just it does take some time, but it doesn't help us to point fingers at anybody, especially when I'm not privy to the information on either side.
As residents wait for clean water and county officials can't say who's in contact with the DEP, the water and the questions keep flowing. But just across the county line, McDowell County Commission President Michael Brooks says he's concerned.
From what I see that's going on over there, absolutely it's concerning. When people can't use their water, when their wells are being sunk, and just the smell alone, I know it is absolutely horrific.
The coal that built America came from right here, but today, residents are left drinking contaminated water. And Vernon Halton, an advocate with Coal River Mountain Watch, says this isn't just an accident, it's a pattern.
The companies take and give nothing in return. You know, Wyoming County streets should be paved with gold and champagne should be coming out of the taps. But instead, you got poison coming out of the taps, and the roads are, well.
Senator Jim Justice says Bluestone isn't involved. The courts say otherwise. Residents in Brenton and Baileysville have been promised water twice now since they filed official complaints in 2020. After half a decade, some residents are weary of promises alone.
Please get this done for us. We've waited an awful long time. We've been let down twice now after we've been told that we're going to get it.
Other residents will believe it when they see it and are growing less patient with more promises.
If that's all you want to do, get your stuff and go home.
With no help from state leaders yet, residents say they want those in power to understand their reality.
I don't want them to have to go to school in them clothes. How would they like for me to donate their clothes to their kids and let them wear it? Let them wear that stained clothes to the school and let kids make fun of their kids. Tell them, you don't have good clothes, look at you, you look like a welfare bum. They don't know what that's like, but I wish they did.
While state regulators and lawmakers stall on action, it is the communities that suffer, and those in the area are pleading with neighboring communities to see what they are dealing with and demand action.
Come see it. See what's going on, and then fight with our legislators at state and federal to find out what the answers are.
We'll keep following this story and provide updates as necessary. In Wyoming County for Newswatch, I'm Danny Delancey.
This concludes today's Newswatch special report, Water Crisis in Wyoming County, presented by the Newswatch team on WOAY.